they show up in a pickup truck and they say, how wide are you? I said 11.10. And they say, max we can do is 10.6. How long are you? I said 107. And they said, max we can do is something like 75 feet or something, I don't know. I said, what's going on? Like, why is it so narrow? It's 2 lanes in each direction. They said, well, at the very end there's a curve, and I know exactly what they're talking about. Right before you hit the booths on the Canadian side, there's a very sharp turn, and they say there's construction, there's like only 1 lane open. So basically the guy says, even if we close all 4 lanes of the bridge, which of course they will never do because it's a super busy bridge, they say you cannot cross here. This is Michigan, I-94 East. Because of my length, I have to use 2 pilot cars. The one in the front is Teresa. The one in the back is Tom. And I told them, I said, my rule is, I told them I worked with Teresa many times before, and she says, you want to be on channel 14? She says, I remember you told me you always choose the day of the month for the channel. I said, yeah, because, you know, it's easy to remember. Today is May 14th, and so we're talking on channel 14. Like, I usually stick to that unless that particular channel has, you know, too much interference. I was actually going through Chicago, well, leaving Lake Station. That's where I spent the night, in Lake Station, Indiana, at that little truck stop on the south side of 94. And I tried channel 14, it was too noisy.
So when a permit says 10 miles under the posted speed limit, which technically speed limit are they talking about?
I think it's the one for trucks, probably 65. I think mine says 50 miles an hour.
There's the permit that I have, it says 10 miles under the posted speed limit.
Then it means 55.
Yeah, and that's all it says. It's, you have to maintain a minimum speed of 45.
Yeah, this...
Up on the ramp. I see it. You should be in front of him.
Yeah, he's passing me. Well, my cruise is at 56 because this thing is too heavy. You know, I go fast, I burn fuel like crazy.
Yeah, I hear that.
And if you saw diesel prices, you know, they just jumped up, especially because of that pipeline disaster.
I know, it's so did regular gas prices.
Usually it says 50. Where did she see? Yeah, she's right. I did not see that one. Because usually I know they always say 50 miles per hour. But now something changed. And now it says must maintain minimum speed of 45 miles per hour, maximum speed 10 miles below the speed limit. So basically I have to drive at somewhere between 45 and 55 because the speed limit for trucks here is 65. So I can go a bit faster, but like I said, I just have half a tank of fuel on this gauge and maybe 75% on that gauge. I need that to last me till Canada, because I think now actually it's cheaper in Canada, you know, especially since I get the 13% sales tax back from the government. Last time I fueled was at the Pilot in LaSalle, Illinois. I think it was like, I forget, somewhere around 3.40 a gallon. In South Dakota, it was $2.85. South Dakota knows nothing about these increased prices, so they keep the old prices, you know, like, what shortage? We don't have any shortage here. But as soon as you cross into Midwest, like Iowa was already expensive. Iowa 80 truck stop, I think it was also around $3.43 a gallon. So I asked Teresa, I said, why is she in a minivan? Because she had I think she had a GMC or something like that, like a pickup truck with a, I think it was like a smaller truck, not a full version, like probably has a V6 or something, I don't know, but, and she said she liked it, she bought it used. And I tried to use her the last couple of on the couple of loads. I could not find her. You know, she would not return the texts, the emails. And then, like I said on the radio, I went to the uspilotcars.com and I see her business is still listed, so I called that number and she answered. So she says last year she was escorting an oversized load and her truck broke down in Wisconsin. The transmission, like big breakdown. So I said, now you're rocking it in a family minivan. Looks like a Toyota or something. And the guy in the back, Tom, also has a minivan. Actually, lately I see a lot of pilot car drivers, they use minivans because they're more comfortable. You know, you can put more stuff in there. You can sometimes they can, you know, sometimes they need to stay overnight, you know. Like last time I used her when I was moving that big Volvo excavator, 100, what was it, like they told me 115. It was actually 108 or 107,000 pounds, and I was taking it to BC from Michigan, right? And she met me at the dealer, but because I came with a disassembled spreader. That was my first trip after the spreader was repaired after that crane disaster last year, and so it took a while to, you know, assemble everything, the spreader, hook it up to the trailer, unload the Jeep. So by the time I was all done, it was like it was like after lunch, it's like 1 or 2, and so the poor pilot drivers were sitting there waiting for me since morning, and they didn't charge me for the waiting time because I told them, no, actually I told them 12 o'clock. Yeah, I said I'm loading at 8, let's meet there at 12, but oh yeah, now I remember. So by the time it was all done, it was almost 3. Yeah, and we were going towards Chicago. And I was loading somewhere not too far from, somewhere between Lansing and Detroit, somewhere there, a small town. And so we couldn't do Michigan in one day, so I had to pay them for the second day, right? And then of course they charged me for the hotel, that I had to go to the hotel. But sometimes, you know, you are in an area, you're a pilot car driver, you're in an area, there's no hotels. And so having a vehicle like that helps, because you can just have, you know, those seats that go in the floor, right? And so you have probably 7-8 feet of space in there, so you can put down a sleeping bag, you know, like in winter, I mean when it's warm, and sleep there. And so the way they're sending us again, just like I thought they would, we're going through Grand Rapids. So now this is still 94, so we're gonna take 196, like in about 22 kilometers, where my Google Maps says stay to the right. We actually have to stay to the left. Actually, I think it'll be a right-hand exit. And the 96 goes like this towards Grand Rapids, and then we take M6, and then jump back on 96, and then there's a small detour there on M50. I have to go south on M50, and then it turns east, and then we jump on 66, M66, that takes us back to 96. And then we just pretty much follow 96 to Detroit, and then we take 75 somewhere there to get me to the bridge. I hate that bridge, you know, that Ambassador Bridge. And they always charge you, like even when you're like other places, if you are under certain weight, you don't have to pay this oversized fee. But these guys, there's always a guy there in a pickup truck at the duty-free plaza, and if he can see that you have an oversized load, he drives over, takes all your info, and then they send you a bill. Probably gonna be like 150, 200 bucks. And they don't do anything, you know. He just sits on the radio and then says, "You ready? Okay, go." Well, they do probably block one lane from the other side. That's why they charge you this, because they're losing traffic, you know, because it's a toll bridge, right? And so ideally the goal is to deliver today.
Kind of far on the shoulder, but he's way off, so it should be fine.
Yeah, I can see him. It's good. You see, she calls cars a 4, like 4 wheels.
Clear.
So I see a 4 on the shoulder. So you guys remember these expressions. We're gonna do a written test after. And that's 18, right? So she says, this guy Tom in the back might say something like 18 passing you, you know. But usually I tell him, you don't have to tell me about regular trucks passing me. Just tell me if oversized load is passing me, you know. Of course I usually see them, but if it's a regular truck, like I try to stay to the right. And so the track of my crane is not even protruding into the other lane. And we went through the scale. The Indiana scale was closed, but the one in Michigan was open. But they were sending everybody through the bypass lane. You know, they have those arrows at the top, and I thought they might stop me. No, it says exit I-94, exit. And if they want to stop you, there's a couple of lights at the end of that bypass lane. It's like a little traffic light. Man. Welcome to Michigan. Nicely patched road, you know, like makes a beautiful pattern. Oh, now we're back in business. I-94 was pretty terrible before we jumped on this. There was construction there, you know, teeth-shattering pavement like typical Michigan. This is 196, much better. We just passed, saw some deer come out. I don't know what they're doing at 9 o'clock in the morning. Usually you don't see them until it's dusk or real early. Just 2 deer jumped out, but they stopped. And also, Teresa said something interesting. She says, a piece of gator on the zipper. That's a pilot slang for you. So zipper is the line separating the lanes. Zipper. Because it looks like a zipper on your coat, right? And gator is the piece of tire. You know, alligator, right? So I love, you know, I understand this, right? But I don't use this myself. But that's kind of like a little pilot language lesson. There's a piece of gator at the zipper. Well, she called out, so I don't hit it, because, you know, you hit that gator, that heavy piece of rubber, if it flies in the air, it can, you know, it can hit your lines, you know, like air lines, brake lines, electric lines. You know, you don't want that. So I just moved my steering wheel like half an inch and I just went around it. So now we're looking for oh wow, 55 kilometers to the next. Like that little section is 55 kilometers, like 32 miles. And then Grand Rapids is probably another 20 miles after that. So right now we're sitting at 353 kilometers, 353 kilometers to the bridge. So the buyer of this crane contacted me yesterday via text message, and she says, any chance you can deliver to the job site 14 kilometers east of our yard? And we talked about it, and I said, is it easier to get to that place than to your yard? And she says, oh yeah, this place is the job site right on 401 on the freeway. She says they're working on the freeway, so you can just go on the shoulder or whatever in the protected area, and they can unload you there. And I told her about my Stinger. I said I want the Stinger to be loaded on the deck. And she says, yeah, they can do that. And then she sends me a message again. She says, I made a mistake. It's not 14 kilometers because you have the work is being done in the westbound lanes. And of course, coming from Ambassador Bridge, I'll be eastbound. So I have to go 14 kilometers, turn around, and then go back. So she says that adds about 30 kilometers or 20 miles to the route. So I asked the broker, said, do you think we shall charge him extra? And didn't get any reply. Oh, but what she said is, she says, if you're there, if you're in Canada before 4 o'clock, we would prefer that you deliver at the job site. But if you are in Canada after 4, like closer to 5 or 6, then she says it's best if you go to the address we gave you, which is the yard where they store all this stuff. But the other trucks, the other step deck guys that loaded, you know, counterweights and pieces of the boom and cables, she says we're all diverted to the job site. So the parts for this crane are all sitting there on 401. Faster route available. No, thank you. And we're driving, if you look at Google Maps, somewhere there, that huge lake, probably somewhere behind these trees. And so if you go directly west, like let's say you fly like a drone, then on the other side of this body of water is Chicago. Pretty much where I was this morning. So we go like this. Yeah, this is gonna be a long day, so that's why I mentioned the miles, because we have to do all this. You know, it would be much shorter, of course, if I could have stayed on 94 all the way to Detroit. But this is longer, so now it'll take longer, more time, and I have to pay the pilots because they charge me by the mile. So I know she what they do is, you know, when they pick you up at that spot at, let's say, Michigan-Indiana line, they zero their trip odometer, right? And then when they finished with you, they just look at the odometer, and let's say it says, you know, 300 miles, then I think it would be like $450 per car. And of course I could have been shorter. I think you need that second pilot, I think after 100 feet. Like I'm 107, right? If I was, let's say, 99 feet, I would need only one pilot car. And my Stinger is 14 feet long. But I could have done that, you know, I could have gone with a Jeep and a quad without the Stinger, but then it's very easy to overload the trailer because your truck is so far forward, and it's very difficult to go around corners, you know, and turn at intersections. Like the Stinger works very well in conjunction with the Jeep, because the Stinger pushes the weight forward, so to speak, and the Jeep pushes the weight back, and so they balance each other out. So if you have a Stinger like 3+1, a tandem Jeep works very well, and that's why I brought the Stinger, right? And here we go, 2 pilot cars. And if you're a big company, they always think about things like that, you know, so they always try to minimize the length and the weight for that particular job, because, you know, let's say if it's a big yard, a big company, they have all their own forklifts and, you know, ceiling cranes, so they would probably go And you don't need a tandem Jeep actually for this, right? The broker just wanted 9 axles. So pretty much all he wanted was a truck. Wait, with a single axle Jeep, that'd be 4, and then 4 in the back. No, he still wants a tandem Jeep. Because he wants 9 axles. So I paid the duties yesterday, or when, the day before, for my new Spintech mufflers, so they're coming Monday. And I emailed OK Tire in Cambridge. I said, guys, let me know your schedule for Monday, because, I mean, for next week. I want to bring my car in and install these new Spintech 9000. Didn't hear back from them yet, but after this I'm definitely taking a couple of days off. So this is Friday, so I can take Saturday, Sunday off, Monday for sure. So I'm going to a hotel for 3 nights, but the place where I deliver is near Windsor, so that's like 3 hours away from my yard. I don't think I'll make it back to Cambridge today. So the goal for today is to reach the bridge, and I have to stop on the US side. I have to go through that special gate, wait for them to open it, and go park near the US Customs building, where you normally get there only when you're trying to cross from Canada to US, right? I gotta stop there and do that clearance, you know, importation, get the stamp on my paperwork, and then I have to wait for that pickup truck guy over there at the bridge to give me the green light to cross. And then of course I have to deal with Canadian customs, and after that unload, safely unload, safely deliver, get my bill of lading signed. I made up yesterday a bill of lading, so I'm all ready. So those are the major goals for today. Deliver, and of course it's going to be too late to send paperwork to the factoring company, so I'm going to do it Monday. Oh, and my new camera is already back at my post office. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I decided to maximize the performance, right? And I sent out my Nikon D780 to a company in Washington State to get rid of the anti-aliasing filter, AA filter. It was about $350 US, but if you just pay $350, then the processing time is like 15 to 20 business days, and I didn't want to wait that long, so I opted for express processing, which is 4 days, and for that they charge you extra $150. And I asked them for a discount. They gave me $35 discount, and then of course I had to pay for shipping. But the camera is not too heavy, but I had to package it properly. I did it from somewhere in the US, I think. Yeah, somewhere, I forgot where it was. Oh, when I was loading that drill rig in New Jersey. Yep, and so now they sent me an email saying that it's not as narrow as it looked. I was afraid the bridge was too narrow. And so yeah, they sent me the email saying your camera has been finished, it's been shipped, and they didn't say anything. And that was the last email from the company. and then I click on the tracking number, and it says delivered, signed for by, and there's the name of the post office owner that I know him very well. I guess there was no duties because it was going to US for repairs. Otherwise, they call me, they ask me to pay duties. That's what I had to do with Spintech. 99 bucks Canadian. What a ripoff. And you cannot get it back because it's not a business expense. So basically now, somewhere in Ottawa, in the Canadian capital, a bureaucrat, instead of regular coffee, thanks to me, he's having Americano, and he's eating some premium donuts. That's what. And now we have to take this business loop, go through lights. This is Holland, Michigan. For some reason they didn't want us to stay on 196, and the road was pretty rough here. Okay, 196.
Here's our exit to stay on 196.
Yeah, 10-4.
25-mile-an-hour ramp with the stop sign at the bottom.
Very exciting. That's why it's good to have a pilot, so now he can block my right lane. Is there any coffee somewhere around here? I'm trying to see if there's a coffee shop somewhere near the shoulder.
We can stop right here for the speedway.
Okay, let me just run quickly in. Tom, a 2-minute break.
Copy.
So as soon as we jumped from 6 on 96, we have to take off this. We have to take this exit 52 because there's construction there, and that's what my.
Here's our exit for M50.
That's what my permit says. And this one will probably take a while because it goes south and it goes east. This 50 southeast. And then it catches up with 66. I cannot see.
Just turned green.
I cannot see from here how narrow that thing is, if there's a divider or not. So my guy is blocking the right lane. Thank you, Mr. K. Warper. See this T800. Lots of people still buy them, you know, like an older model, Kenworth T800, but still very popular. It's like a time-proven, you know, design. And actually, I like smaller cabs, you know. For example, on this cab, my permit fell on the floor on the passenger seat, like over there. I cannot reach it because this cab is so big. You see, like I cannot touch the door, right? Whereas in old trucks like Kenworth and Peterbilt, you can actually flip the switch on the door to lower the window, you know. Like if a cab comes over, you can just... But I like this. I like the space, you know, between the seats. Of course, in a T800, it'll be half the distance, so you have to turn to go, you know, in or out of the sleeper. So yeah, I like the sleeper on this thing. I like the turning table. It's like mini office over there, you know. I like it. I like my big doors on the sides. Sometimes when it's very hot, I just open them. And the only thing you gotta do is they always try to close for some reason. I don't know why. Even when you're on a level surface, everything is perfectly level. You push the door open, you know, that with the glass on the side of the sleeper, it will always slowly rotate back. And so what I do is I just take a bungee cord and I go outside and I hook it up to my cover, that cover on the exhaust pipe. It has lots of little holes, which I think are there specifically for this, so you can hook up a bungee cord to the door.
Rise on the tracks, fairly smooth.
I slowed down because I was afraid I might catch the rails again. But I'm not too low. I'm in position 3, I think.
Well, coming up.
Maybe I was thinking, you know, somewhere here maybe I can get some cheap fuel, because sometimes these small stations, okay, we see here 3.19 for diesel. Oh wow, we have some kind of a meet and greet over there, bikers. So that's already almost 30 cents cheaper than the last time I filled up. All right, I'm at a quarter and a half on the main tank, and still probably 60% on the right tank. I'm telling you, I really hate this system with 20 gauges. Since they are connected, right? They're supposed to be connected. Why do I need to know how much fuel I have in one tank? So this is one of those picturesque, scenic detours. And and it's already plus 19, 68F. So I'm driving with my air conditioning on. That's what you get for having a black truck. Next one might be white, like my Dodge Challenger. Well, we just stopped in Grand Ledge, which is a suburb of Lansing, because I found a cheap diesel. It was Speedco 329, and then we passed Pilot and Loves. It was all like 345, 349. So I got about, I filled up my left tank, got about 82 gallons. And then, because this is the last stretch before the border, and over there's nowhere to stop, we processed the payment. Teresa, she has an app on her phone, so she can take credit cards. And so I paid them. It was more than I expected, a little bit, because it's longer. So she charged me $1.50 a mile, and it was 289 miles. So I think I paid like $440 per car, so almost $900. So you guys would not believe what happened. I showed up at the bridge. That's that ugly structure in the distance, the Ambassador Bridge, right? I go to the gate to get into this compound for CBP. That takes like half an hour to get somebody to open the gate for you. And then I get inside. I have my paperwork stamped, export of the crane. Then I get in my truck, drive back, wait another half an hour to get through the gate back to the duty-free area, and I sit there, wait for the bridge authority people to, you know, take my info and escort me over the bridge. And they show up in a pickup truck and they say, "How wide are you?" I said 1110. And they say, "Max we can do is 10.6. How long are you?" I said 107. And they said, "Max we can do is something like 75 feet or something." I don't know. I said, "What's going on? Like, why is it so narrow? It's 2 lanes in each direction." They said, "Well, at the very end there's a curve," and I know exactly what they're talking about. Right before you hit the booths on the Canadian side, there's a very sharp turn. And they say there's construction, there's like only 1 lane open. So basically the guy says, even if we close all 4 lanes of the bridge, which of course they will never do because it's a super busy bridge, they say you cannot cross here. And I'm like, Jesus, like what? I said, "What do I do now?" Well, they say, "We're gonna escort you back through that gate, you know." And I said, "I cannot go. You know, if I go on 75 or 96, I'll get a ticket, because it's Wayne County, and Wayne County in Michigan, which is Detroit, there's a curfew. Like, there's a bunch of counties on my permit, and it says I cannot be there between 7 and 9 in the morning and 3 to 6 in the evening." And so I was arguing about this because they didn't like, you know, the export thing, right? And I said, "It's not my fault." "Yeah, you stamped the paperwork, and you can cancel that stamp, and I'll stop again at the export office in Port Huron." But I said, "I cannot go through the bridge." And the guy says, "Yeah, you have yourself a pickle. Go sit down." So I sat down there for an hour, and then the guy got up and left. And I waited again. Then I talked to his neighbor. I said, "Any news for me?" And he's like, "Who are you?" Basically. I said, "Well, your colleague sitting next to you was dealing with this, and they told me to wait because I cannot leave until 6. So I said I was just looking for the permit, because that's what they told me. I need a permit to stay in this compound, you know, for more than 2 hours. I need a piece of paper, because when I try to leave, they will ask me, because there's an officer there, there's a gate, right? They're gonna ask me like, what the heck were you doing here? What, you know? And so the guy finally gave me a note, like a handwritten note in red ink. Load was not able to cross bridge and can return to USA after 6 p.m. On May 14th, and he stamped it. So because I was insisting on this, I said I need a piece of paper. I know without any kind of note from you guys, the guy in the booth will not let me in. He'll tell me to park again, go around. So I went through this before. So you must have something that tells them who are you and what you were doing here. And so I had to change everything to Port Huron. I redid the customs to Port Huron, Sarnia. I changed my my permit to Blue Water Bridge, and I had to call again my pilots. So now I have to pay them extra to take me to Port Huron, because I need 2 pilots. And lucky enough, they did not go too far before I called them, because I called them as soon as I knew that I'll have to turn around. And so from here it's about 60 miles, but it's downtown traffic there, so we'll have to go to like 96 to 696 and then take 94. So it's a bit of a detour, but that's what's happening. So hopefully I'll cross today.